Hello there, and welcome to another edition of the Northern Countdown. I'm none other than your friendly neighborhood soda, joined as always by Ben and my co-host, who's doing something interesting today.
Fuck you.
Hello there. Yes, we're here with another
One of these days I gotta find a way to cancel the solo layout.
You can't, man. You can't.
I wish you'd never discovered that, but could you just do that again for a second? I just noticed something interesting.
Yep.
Is it just me, or does Simba look high?
And oh my lord, he does.
It's just so weird.
Simba, and then just Tweety that looks like he's seen some shit.
Wow. The things you find out when you're sitting alone in the dark.
And who's the teeth behind them?
That's Charmander.
Okay, all I see is a shadow and teeth.
Yeah, that's the thing. The lighting just lies because that's not teeth. That's the inside of his mouth. He's just
Jesus.
And the thing, this isn't even Simba's actual eyes, which is even weirder. His eyes are over here. You're just seeing the shadow of the. Hold on. I'm gonna turn the light on just to notice that. This is
a great way to start the show. I got a
television right here. You see that's the eyes. This is just a part of the wider eye.
Oh, wild.
That's the mouth. These are the teeth.
Okay. I thought he pulled a Ross and really went to town on the whiteness.
I understood that reference.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Northern Countdown. As I already said, I am your friendly neighborhood soda of Zoranar, joined by my friendly neighborhood Ben, and joined by none other than Vengeance the Knight, 50 Shades of Geek. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
I am fine. I am fine. I'm in the night. See, I had this Batman mask that I was going to wear, but I find it, and I know we were kind of on a tight schedule. So I just figured turning the light off would have been a better choice. And surprise, surprise, it gave us this much comedy out of it.
It did. It really did. There's a reason for all that. And 50, because it is your list, I will let you introduce it.
Yeah, it's the top 5 Kevin Conroy as Batman performances. Not episodes of the animated series. We're encapsulating all of Kevin Conroy's 3-decade career as the Batman.
Yeah.
And this has been one of the toughest lists I could do because there's just so much to choose from. It's really hard to whittle it down to just my favorites. I'm gonna give you a bit of a hint. This is mine. You won't guess what are mine because they're shorthand, just one word for me to want to remember. But this is just the short list of stuff, and there's honestly could have been like 15 more stuff because there's so much to choose from. I couldn't leave anything out.
Mine. I went for acting performances, like moments in the show. So unfortunately, I don't have any honorable mentions, just because there were so many. I just couldn't. I too had a hard time whittling down to 5, so I just picked my 5, and that was it.
I have one honorable mention, and it was incredibly hard for me.
Yeah, and this was incredibly heartbreaking because it just shows you just how great of a voice actor Kevin Conroy is. Really does. Yeah. Because just of how much he was able to convey just through the use of his voice. Like that's something very unique, and to the point that not only was he Batman in the animated series stuff, he was Batman in video games, he was Batman in animated movies. He even made, like we talked about last week, he made the appearance on Infinite Crisis, which we'll talk about today.
Oh yeah, we will.
I know we will. I know it's gonna be like up high on your list. Let's just get into it. Let's pay honor. Let's pay some honor to the late great Kevin Conroy. So 50, if you wouldn't mind starting us off, please.
Okay, so my number 5, and it took me about 2 minutes to understand exactly what I wrote because, again, shorthand to make it easier for me to understand. It's from Justice League Doom, the animated movie, where at some point I'm gonna shorten things out for you. Ra's al Ghul. No, actually, That wasn't Ra's al Ghul. That was in the comics. In the movie, it was Vandal Savage, I believe. Just stole some secret. What?
So that sounds about right.
Yeah, he stole some secret plans from the Batcave, and those secret plans were how to defeat each and every single version of the every single member of the Justice League. He had like a bomb strapped to the Flash that blew up, that exploded if he stopped running. He found a way to put Martian Manhunter instead of perpetual fire. Sort of mind wash Wonder Woman into thinking she's fighting enemies when she's actually fighting civilians. And obviously for Superman, it was something involving kryptonite, and he also buried Batman alive. And it was that at that moment, more or less, then Batman realized that every single one of those methods to defeat the Justice League is a method that he came up with. And there's a moment where he talks to Alfred. He's like, I need some reinforcements. The Justice League is under attack. And Alfred is like, by who? And Batman's like, by me. And later, and obviously in that animated movie, it's revealed that Batman basically had a contingency plan for every single member of the Justice League in case one of them turns evil or is influenced by mind control. And by the end of that very same movie, I think it was Superman that talked to him. And he said to him, and obviously Batman was the only one who could escape the scenario that was devised for him, because he didn't have a scenario for him. Mm-hmm. That's something that Vandal Savage came up with on his own, which is why it failed, because it's not Batman. But Superman just basically told him, one thing I don't understand, you had a contingency plan for each and every one of us, but you didn't have a plan to stop yourself. And he looks at him and says, I did have a plan to stop myself. It's called the Justice League. Mm-hmm. Just it just shows badass. You, yeah, how not only badass, but how clever and how 7 steps ahead Batman always is ahead of his enemies. It's pure Batman in its most perfect glory.
It's incredibly indicative as into why Batman is the master strategist of the DC universe. Have you read the book Tower of Babel?
Tower of Babel, no, but I did watch the movie.
Yeah, I've read them. I've read them both. I will give slightly the nod to Tower of Babel, but yeah, no. In either way, Batman just comes off as a psychotic badass because he's in a distrustful badass, but a badass nonetheless.
Well, I mean, the guy dresses up as a bat, so you gotta assume he's not right in the head at some point.
Yeah,
right?
No kidding, eh? No kidding. Yeah.
But I mean, this just goes to show you why this ordinary man is on a team with literal gods and aliens, and they all respect him.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. He's basically the Odysseus of the DC universe.
Odysseus.
Ooh, very punny. I like that.
So if he's Odysseus, who's Agamemnon?
Superman.
Alfred. No. It could be Superman because Superman actually does stuff.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Ooh. But all right, Ben, you're number 5.
It might be a controversial one, but I like the movie to come at me, The Killing Show.
Okay.
Everything after the prologue is great. And
prologue. Can't believe they're still calling it a prologue. Can you believe they're calling it a prologue, Ben?
I'm calling it a prologue. I don't know who else is calling it a prologue.
Dude, how could a prologue be longer than the actual movie?
In 15 minutes. It's not longer than
not that long. It's not as long as you think.
It feels a lot longer.
It never bothered me. And here's why it never bothered me. Because just a year prior, I read a digital comic of Batman Beyond where they literally explored the same subject matter between Batman, Nightwing, and Barbara Gordon into why Nightwing hates Batman. Literally for the same reason. So it didn't bother me because I just read it.
And it's just as messed up. It's just as messed up.
Listen, if you put in the DVD for physical media fans only, and you fast forward after that, There's nothing wrong with the movie. I'm sorry. It's a good movie with a great performance.
The movie is great, so long as you ignore that stuff, which is stupid. It makes no sense.
Right, but that doesn't take away any from Kevin Conroy's brilliant talent in the movie.
Do you have a specific moment then?
I actually like towards the end when it's Batman and Joker and they were facing off that last time.
In the rain with the laugh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great
I
scene.
didn't love it.
It's a great scene. Sorry, go ahead, 50.
No, I was going to say that see, in the comics, people just came up with this wild theory that while they're both standing in the rain laughing and
just
Batman
about to say this.
arms around him, people just assumed that Batman just snapped his neck at that moment.
Yeah.
Just because of how the laughter just stops. And before this book was officially considered canon, I mean, it's understandable to think that.
Is there really a canon, though?
It was canon for many years because that's obviously how they explained Oracle getting in the wheelchair. That was brought, and they have redone that panel from that series many times throughout the comic books ever since.
Was the movie considered canon from the animated series?
No, that was
it's a one-off.
Yeah, that was during a time where they had two different things going. Where they had the series, which had like Assault on Arkham and stuff like that, and then they had the one-offs based on the books.
Okay.
Yeah, which is where they did like the All-Star Superman and stuff.
Yeah, which I have I have like all those early stuff. I have All-Star Superman, I have All-Star Batman and Robin, I have Doom, I have a lot of those older ones. The good ones.
But this movie was promoted big because it was a return of Mark Hamill and
that's right, return of Mark Hamill and Conroy in the roles. Yeah, it was the talk of Comic-Con, and then there was the talk of Comic-Con for some other reason after everyone got out of the theater. You know, I remember the hype around this, and I remember being excited. I've only seen it the one time, if I'm being honest. I do read the comic. I would rather read the comic, but
I've only seen it that one time too.
Yeah. I wonder comic fans they built up too much hype for this movie, and they were going to be pissed off no matter what they were given.
No, because the actual part that is adapted from the book, everyone celebrated and loved.
Yeah. Okay.
That stupid opening with the freaking sex scene that pissed everyone off, which was completely unnecessary. They thought it would add to Barbara's character, and it just denigrated her character in the long run.
It never denigrated it for me, but I agree with you. It doesn't really add anything other than, okay, this is why he is when it comes to what happened with Barbara. I mean, it comes across fine in the book. It's just if, in all honesty, that should have been done as a short because there's not enough material in the book to make a movie. They should have just done it as a long short.
Yeah. I don't know, and that's why they added that stupid prologue to make more meat on it to make it a feature. And they couldn't come up with a good name for a villain, so they just called the villain Paris France.
So what's your number 5?
So this is going to be punted, but it's Infinite Crisis.
Yeah.
You mean the
live action
Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's
the one that's named after the very first Crisis. Yep.
Yeah.
Infinite Crisis is the one I prefer reading.
And it's shorter to say in a show like this. So I think we should just jump into Ben because that's my number 4.
Okay.
My number 4 is the intro to Batman the Animated Series. I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman. Can you get any more iconic than this with Kevin Conroy?
Even though he never actually said it in the opening. But what's actually really cool about the opening is that is actually the test reel that they created to convince Warner Brothers to go ahead with the project. That is the original demo.
So, remind me again, when did he actually say that in the intro?
He never said it in the intro. That intro.
There's
an episode.
In the intro.
There's an episode, but it's not in the intro. But the intro is still badass. It deserves to be on this list.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Not necessarily a Kevin Conroy thing. That's just the intro is entirely animated.
Hey, Taco.
Hey, Taco.
Yeah, no, like I said, that is a badass proof of concept.
You know what? In a way, it's like the Deadpool thing
Yep.
years ago. Speaking of proof of concept,
Yeah, I still say it was Ryan Reynolds that leaked that one.
Oh yeah,
you
100%.
and everybody else on the planet,
Yeah.
even
I don't
Ryan
know
Reynolds,
anybody who would disagree with you.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look, even Ryan Reynolds is like, no, I did not do that. Of
No,
course
I
I
didn't
didn't.
do
No.
that. Very smart on his part. Okay. My number 4 is from the season finale of Justice League season 1. It's the Once and Future thing. It is Batman Cubed. It is where we have 3 different versions of Bruce Wayne Batman interacting with each other, all 3 voiced by Kevin Conroy. You've got Batman Beyond meets Justice League the animated series meets I can't remember what the third version is, but there are 3 versions voiced by Kevin Conroy.
I don't remember a third one.
Pretty sure.
I think you're thinking of just Kevin Conroy as regular Batman and future Batman and the Batman Beyond Batman.
Yeah, I'm gonna apologize. By the way, Kevin Conroy voicing more than one version of Batman in an episode in the scene. Like that's how awesome is that? And I wouldn't be surprised if he was alternating between the 2 versions in doing it all at once. Like that's great voice acting when you're able to do that on camera and pull it off magnificently.
I love the scene when you have Batman and old Bruce Wayne interrogating that one person.
Oh yeah. Anytime Batman interrogates somebody, it's just like, can I get a new pair of pants?
Yeah, and in that scene, it's just the Scarecrow knockoff. Younger Batman picks him up by the ankle and dangles him over the edge of a building, and he's like, "My arm is getting tired." And then the old Batman's like, "I can't believe I was ever this green. Give me that guy." And he throws him to the side, picks up his cane, and is like, "This is how you interrogate somebody." And you realize Batman did not get more mellow in age. He only got more and more disturbed.
Yep.
As he got older.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right. So now we're back to 50 for his number 3.
Okay, so my number 3 is surprisingly enough not from a Batman thing. It's from the Flashpoint movie, the animated one.
Yeah,
where
Thomas Wayne.
Let me fucking finish.
Oh, sorry.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a proper prologue to add to an animated movie that you're adapting from a comic book, because they open it with a scene with Flash being attacked by some of his rogues and helped by the Justice League, and then they bookend that with Flash coming back to the regular universe, and he comes back to Batman, voiced by Kevin Conroy, the Bruce Wayne Batman, voiced by Kevin Conroy, and he brings him a letter that Thomas Wayne from the Flashpoint Batman wrote him, and he gives him a letter from his father, essentially, because obviously in the Flashpoint universe, it was Bruce Wayne that died, and Thomas Wayne became Batman, and obviously Martha Wayne became the Joker, and so it was in a way closure for both of these characters. It was Thomas Wayne writing a letter to his son who that died as a young child, and Bruce Wayne reading a letter from his father who died when he was a child.
Visual representation.
Yeah, there we go. And Kevin Conroy nails that scene in the acting of reading the letter.
It's reminiscent of another one of my picks that I chose it for the same reason that you did. Well, but continue, yeah.
Now, and obviously a lot goes into the animation, but Kevin Conroy's voice after reading the letter and thanking Flash for giving him the letter. Obviously, we almost never get to see Batman conveying any emotions, but when that happens, it hits you right in the chest.
Yeah,
right in the center of the.
It's unfortunately one of those moments that, in like the plethora, great Batman moments nobody talks about, because it's Bruce Wayne being relegated back to that child, and it's like getting that goodbye from his father he never got. I agree with you. Great scene, translated well both on page and on screen, but Kevin Conroy definitely does add to it. All right, Ben.
My number 3, right?
Yeah.
Chris.
The mask of a phantasm that graveyard scene when he's
Flight
talking to his
Flight punt.
Punt.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 3 then is from the Justice League episode This Little Piggy. Batman sings Blue.
I love that moment. It's an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, it's a great moment because it's something you would never expect Batman to do, but he goes on stage and he sings the blues, and it shows another side of how talented Kevin Conroy is, to the point where in 2015 he re-recorded the song.
Wow.
I just read that because I couldn't remember the episode, so I was looking it up, and I actually came across that in 2015 he re-recorded the song. But yeah, this is actually one of the clips that, since Kevin Conroy has passed away, that has actually been circulating quite a bit around the internet. And it's like I said, it's nice to see a different side of this character, one you never expect. And Batman can carry a tune.
Yeah. And this is another thing that what I loved about the original, the animated series, is that they sort of played on the idea that Batman and Wonder Woman were a thing.
Oh, this is Justice League. This isn't Batman.
I was referring to the Justice League series.
You said the Batman series, though.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I meant the Justice League series. Okay, I think I just said the animated series. Regardless, they played on the whole Batman and Wonder Woman were a thing pretty much since season 1 of the first Justice League, and this was in Justice League Unlimited. And Batman in that episode itself was was resistant to that whole thing. He didn't want. He doesn't want a relationship. That's not Batman's thing. No matter how many times Wonder Woman pushed against that. And that episode really does show the lengths he would go to protect and save his friends, including Wonder Woman, which includes singing in front of an audience of people. Yeah. And then that's, again, another one of the reasons why it's such a great series, the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited series.
Yeah. One, if not you could make an argument for being the best of that universe. Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
All right. Sorry, 50 what?
I think, yeah, season 2 of Justice League Unlimited, I think, is like one of the best, most complete TV seasons I've ever watched.
And then what I like is that when they brought it back as Justice League Unlimited, every episode was a revolving roster, which I liked because you got to highlight different members of the DC universe.
Yeah, to show that there's a massive, massive universe of heroes, not just these 5 people.
Yep.
Essentially.
All right, Ben?
No, 50.
Me.
Oh, that's right. That was just mine. Yeah, 50. Sorry, you're number 3.
So, my number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2. Yes.
Well, someone didn't get enough sleep tonight. So mine is our first video game one.
Ooh.
I think that's the first one on here. And it's from the first Injustice Gods Among Us game. And I rewatched all the cutscenes for the first one, and I got about halfway through the second one last night to prepare for this. And I do believe that Injustice 2 is the better game and has the better story, but the first Injustice has one of my favorite Batman moments, and it's when Batman fights Robin in the Joker hideout. And at first, it starts with Robin fighting Green Arrow, and Green Arrow is going like, he took you in, raised you, taught you how to fight, and this is how you repay him. And Robin just throws him to the side and goes, yeah, that's I'm not that Robin. I'm his son, Damian Wayne. And then Batman joins the fight, and he's like, you stopped being my son when you killed Dick Grayson. He was my son. And then they start fighting. Or in other words, commence grasshopper business. If you understand the reference, you are an awesome person. But yeah, sucks that Soda had to leave for the bathroom just at that moment, because I'm sure he would have had something to add. But in the meantime, how are you been? How have you been? How has this week been treating you?
I'm doing all right, Vinny. How are you?
I'm fine. I went to my cousin's wedding earlier this week.
Right, I remember you were mentioning that. How did that go?
It was fun. It was odd. it seemed like a wedding where they tried to shove every possible thing you can do at weddings into one night, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Nice. Are you close with him? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, I mean, we were close when we were kids. I mean, we mostly just met at family gatherings and family events. It's weird that I mean, I still remember the guy when he was like this big, and now he's about, hold on, and nowadays he's about this big.
How much older are you than him?
Ooh, never really did the math, but a few years, definitely several years. I don't know, 7 years maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I have like cousins who are twins who I'm good 10 years older than.
Well,
So I remember when they were little myself.
yeah,
So,
it was weird seeing the guy getting married. I mean, it's like how time flies. I still remember him at other family weddings, just running around, being his usual hyperactive mess, and now he's the one getting married. And how long are we going to have to keep this up?
Well, why don't I say my number 2? I mean, it is mine too, right?
Yeah, but I just really wanted to hear what Soda had to say about my number 2. Anyways, since that's not going to happen anytime soon, why don't you just move on to your number 2 and maybe we'll come back to mine.
It might get punted, but I don't think so. It's a punch crisis.
Well, there's not much to get punted. I mean, it was already, you punted it from me and Soda, so let's talk about that.
Okay, right. It was great to see Kevin Conroy finally in live action as Bruce Wayne / Batman. And I know people don't like Crisis crossover, but I'm sorry, I fucking love it. It's not my favorite of the Eververse crossovers, but it's up there. And it gave us everything we wanted, and you finally see Batman and Kate go one-on-one. That was an awesome moment. What did you think of it?
I mean, just like you, I don't get the hate that Crisis gets. Like, there's good moments in there for sure. There's overall, on the whole, it wasn't as good as some of the other crossovers. It might be one of the weaker ones in my opinion, but still, there's just so much good in there. Like that scene with, well, where the hell have you been? We've been trying to keep things up for.
I know. I can hear you guys from my bathroom because it's like I live in an apartment. Sorry guys. Unfortunately, I have a bowel condition that unfortunately when I have to go, I have to go. So, but anyways, just gonna backtrack.
Well, sort of TMI. Too much information.
But anyways, just to backtrack a little bit. Unfortunately, 50. It's been a long time since I've seen Injustice. That's not one of the scenes that I remember. The only thing that I really remember, like crystal clear, is the beginning when Superman accidentally kills Lois. That's the only thing that I can definitively say I remember from Injustice.
Okay, I mean,
I'm sorry, I didn't have anything more.
The one thing you remember is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So
I do agree though. I have the games. I should go back and play them.
Yeah, I mean it's like saying the one thing I remember from The Lion King is when that monkey picks up the little lion cub and throws him up to everybody. Yeah, that's the most important part.
Hey, and then on to the Crisis here. I think I know why Ben holds it in high regards. That's one of the reasons why I hold it in high regards is all the freaking kick-ass cameos in here. And to get Kevin Conroy, but not just Kevin Conroy as Batman, Kevin Conroy dressed as Bruce Wayne from, what's the name of that series? Justice, the book, the comic series that Alex Ross drew. Kingdom Come, that's what it was. Kingdom Come. Yeah.
I mean, that it was Batman Beyond thing. Or maybe not a Beyond, maybe more so the Dark Knight Returns.
Hold on a second.
Well, I mean, yeah, just that whole universe with Batman in it. That he was in a like an exosuit after he killed Superman, and even the lines of dialogue that he says in that scene is like ripped directly from the Dark Knight Returns. Like when he says that his parents taught him a very different lesson. They taught him that the world only ever makes sense if you force it to. Like that's peak Batman, said by the best Batman, Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. So as you can see right here, this is one of the first times we see him in Kingdom Come, and that's where the exoskeleton comes from.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it was just a mishmash of different future Batman.
Exactly. Yeah, which is what I really appreciated. It was like the best of everything.
Yeah, it was the exosuit from Kingdom Come, the killing of the Batman from Dark Knight Returns, and the moody future loner Batman from Batman Beyond. It was a mixture of civil and future Batman.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then, of course, we got other returns. We had Burt Ward returning in Earth 67.
Yeah, for 20 seconds.
I think they deemed it Earth 60 or Earth something. It was a correlation to the show.
Earth 66, I think it was.
And then,
red clouds of death. That was it. That was it. That was all you got.
That's all, and that's all you needed. And then, of course, you brought in
the '89 movie.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, what's his
name? We got Alex Warren come back.
Yep. Alexander Knox. Yeah. He made an appearance, and of course, you got Huntress from the short-lived Birds of Prey TV series, and of course, the big one for myself, Ben and 50, the return of Clark and Lois from Smallville. My Lois. Anywho,
my man, but okay.
Well, what did you say?
What?
We didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
No, I didn't hear you.
I said he's my Superman.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's a good Superman. Yeah, he's not my Superman.
And let's not forget the return of Brandon Routh as the Man of Steel.
Yeah, and that is the same Superman, right? Or is that a different Superman, like the one that he plays in the show?
No, he was. Hold on, he was the Superman Returns, but as the Kingdom Come Superman.
Okay, that's what I was asking. If it was that same one. Okay, because I couldn't remember that.
So the implication there is that in the universe that Superman Returns takes place in, several years in the future, he just becomes the Kingdom Come Superman.
Gotcha.
So does that mean in Superman Returns the Joker exists?
Possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody died in that universe. We got the Joker in the show. That means Joker exists in that movie.
It could be.
Yeah.
Just because we never connected in the movies doesn't mean it's part of a bigger thing.
Yeah. And when I was watching it with my mom for the first time, the funniest thing about it was every time when Brendan Routh shows up, and my mom was like, "Why did they change the Superman suit?" And I'm like, "They didn't change it. That's the suit from the comic. That's the."
But we did get the Superman Returns suit in another Superman name.
Yeah, my favorite Superman, Tom Welling.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you're number 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
so this was the punt from earlier. I'm wondering if potentially might get punted again. Didn't count on being happy. It's the scene in the graveyard from Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, punt. That's my number 1.
Okay. Honorable mentions.
Should we start with me because I've got plenty?
Sure.
Okay, so from Justice League, not Justice League Unlimited, an episode where Superman is presumed dead and Batman goes to his monument and gives a eulogy for Superman and essentially talks to his friend. First thing, he actually admits him being his friend. The singing from this little piggy. There's a scene from another one of the seasons from Justice League when Darkseid comes in and asks for help. Superman refuses, and Batman is like, cry me a river. Like he walks right up to Superman's face and is like, cry me a river. I might recommend watching the full scene. So from the Shazam movie, when Zachary Levi picks up a large Batman doll, it says, I'm Batman, and he throws it at Thaddeus Ross, and he's like, get him, Batman. Did I say Thaddeus Ross? Whatever. he throws it at the building. He's like, "Get him, Batman!" From the Batman the Animated Series. There's a Christmas themed episode where Robin asks him, "Have you ever seen It's a Wonderful Life?" And Batman is like, "I could never get past the title." Another one from the animated series, with an episode with the ventriloquist, where Batman basically ventriloquizes to get his way out of a situation, and it's one of those things where Robin impersonates Batman, and Batman just does his voice. I think it was from the Mad Hatter. From the first Arkham game, just the entire level with the Scarecrow. We could make it flashbacks to the Wayne's death. From Batman Beyond, there's an episode where future Batman is having nightmares, and Terry McGinnis is like, he's having conversations from Talia al Ghul, I believe, and Terry McGinnis is like, maybe you were just hallucinating and hearing voices in your head, and Bruce Wayne is like, because in my visions, they're calling me Bruce, and he's like, that's not how I call myself in my head, implying that he just refers to himself as Batman in his head. And I had one more that I cannot remember at the moment. So I think we should just move on. I think I've said enough.
Okay. Like I said earlier, I didn't have any just because I couldn't narrow it down any further than I could this.
I have one. In the Arkham games in general.
Yeah. Which I'm glad we got. I'm glad we got those.
And I would also like to say your namesake. Just the fact that exists.
Yeah, the fact that he actually came back and played it in Batman the Brave and the Bold, too.
Well, okay, I'm missing something.
A little bit of a backstory. So I think it was in the 60s, this Batman came up with this. It was during the weird Batman stuff that they were doing at that time, but they came up with an alternate identity called the Batman of Zerdanar. But they actually brought it back many years later in the comic books as, like, basically a failsafe in the back of Batman's mind. So if he goes crazy, he becomes this version of Batman, and he's like in this very bright, colorful, multicolored suit. Basically the clown version, not the Joker clown, but a clown version of Batman.
I'll look up a picture of it. But yeah, in Batman the Brave and the Bold, they did an episode where they brought that character into the show. And obviously Batman was voiced by a different voice actor, but Kevin Conroy voiced that version.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, like I said, it's been a concept that's been around in like the 50s or 60s originally.
The Raven Reborn is more of a parody Batman, right? In a way.
No. This is like literally Batman at his most insane. Like, this is when Batman's lost all touch with reality.
The animated show, The Brave and the Bold?
No, the character. So basically, yeah, the Brave and the Bold is just Batman teaming up. Every episode he teams up with different characters throughout DC. So you will get that, if I'm not mistaken, was the first appearance outside of comics of like Polka Dot Man and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Good stuff.
Just the whole Brave and the Bold show in and of itself, it was just an homage to the Batman of the 60s.
Gotcha.
Basically.
This is what he looked like in the show.
Yeah, and it's not far off from what he looked like in the comics as well.
You know what's crazy? That kind of like Robin colors.
Almost, yeah. With a few other things, yeah.
Hold on. There's another picture. Oops. Where did I put it? There we go. Come on.
Drink the coffee, Time Lord. Drink the coffee, Time Lord.
Sorry, I just saw Ben drinking some coffee and I couldn't resist.
Truly in the Morning for M&M's. That's the comic book one.
Oh, nice. Oh wow.
And look, he's still mad. He's still got the knife and the edginess to him, but he's wearing that ridiculous costume.
Yeah, he's basically this Batman with no inhibitions.
Yeah, he's basically the Sixth Doctor with that costume.
Basically, yeah. Alrighty.
And there's your Doctor Who reference for the day.
Yep. All right.
So what is your number one, my man?
This is gonna be fun.
Oh, me, right. It's the graveyard.
Okay. Which I believe was also... Okay, so that was your number 2, Ben?
No, it was my number 3.
Oh,
It
okay.
was your number 2.
That's right.
Hey! 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
I don't know if that's ever happened before. All right. So why is it your number 150?
Because it's the character of Batman in its most purest form.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Batman, it just encapsulates the conflict, the constant conflict that Batman has to live through every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And him talking to his parents, and late I believe it's also in that movie that by the end he goes back and visits their grave again, putting flowers on the grave, then walks away, and his shadow is the shadow of Batman. And this also goes back into another episode from the animated series where he goes back and visits Crime Alley, the place where his parents were shot, and he puts roses on the very same tile on the sidewalk where they were gunned down. And it's the perfect encapsulation of the Batman psyche, the Batman brain at work, like the constant conflict between the Batman persona and Bruce Wayne. And it's always, people always say that with most other superheroes, they put on a mask and they become the superhero. With Batman, Bruce Wayne is the mask, and Batman is the true persona. Just like in one of my honorable mentions, when that's how he calls himself in his head. He doesn't refer to himself as Bruce. He refers to himself as Batman in his mind. And that is, again, another reason why Kevin Conroy is the best Batman, because he is the one that encapsulates that aspect of Batman the best. Other actors are playing Bruce Wayne as Batman. Kevin Conroy is playing Batman and occasionally Bruce Wayne.
So I have a little bit of a story to this because, again, ever since Kevin Conroy's passing, stories have been coming out about the guy. The funniest one is the 9/11 story. I know 9/11 itself isn't funny, but the story itself is.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
Basically, the short end of it, he's a New York guy. He went in and he volunteered at his soup kitchen, and the guy he was working with, an architect, recognized him through his voice, obviously. So when the guy went up front, he's like, "You're never gonna guess who's serving you food," and everyone's like, "Oh, who is it? Who is it?" And he's like, "It's Batman." And there's silence. Also, you hear someone in the back go, "Oh, bullshit!" So the architect went to the back and he told everything what happened, and no joke, Kevin Conroy from the back went, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." Silence. Holy fuck, that is Batman.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same guy who said both of those.
Oh, it was. He said it was. Okay, but that's not. But what I brought that up is because stories about Kevin Conroy have been coming out, and this is one that's popped up. Is basically the recording of this scene. This is a Kevin Conroy quote from his point of view in terms of what he did to come into this. So he says, "That was the time I realized fully that you can't fake Batman. You can't make a deep, husky sound with your voice. You have to base it in the pain of his childhood each time, or it doesn't sound right." The recording booth had been stunned into silence as Conroy saw the ripple effects unfold, especially with Andrea Romano. In her tears, he saw the true effect he had behind the microphone as Bruce. She could see I really, really went emotionally to the place that he goes to. Boy, I was proud of it, and I loved it. And I think that's the day I realized this is really going to be an acting experience that I'm going to be really proud of. And then this is from her point of view. I was crying so hard. I was absolutely devastated, in a good way, by his performance there. I've always said that I will never ask an actor to do something I'm not willing to do myself. So actors trust me to take the ride with them. And Kevin knew that he would open up during that scene. And in doing so, I was right there with them. But I literally could not speak, continue on. And basically what happened is she got on the mic. She says, "Good take. I need a minute." And she went out in the hall and cried.
Wow.
That's how good his performance was in the recording booth for that scene.
And people still have this weird assumption that voice acting isn't real acting.
Nope. Because I'd say I would argue it's harder.
That is the exact conversation that I had yesterday with Snark, when we recorded my show, The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. Go ahead and check that out.
Mm-hmm.
But acting with just your voice is harder because you have less tools to work with, especially on audio, which is what Doctor Who is prominently the most prominent medium of Doctor Who. But at least in animation, you have the actual animation of the scene. When you're just working with only your voice, you don't have sets, you don't have props, you don't have your face, you can't do stuff with your
Sometimes you don't even have the other actors to act with because it's actually not as common to do it all together.
Yeah, so it all falls squarely on the shoulders of your voice. I know how ridiculous that sounds, and now that I've said it out loud, but it all just falls on your voice. The voice is the thing. It is the most purest form of acting.
Yeah.
Fight me on this.
No, I'm not. There's no way I can fight you on this because you're not wrong.
I'm never wrong.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right.
Saying that makes you wrong.
I'm never wrong except for when I'm wrong.
Let's ask your mother.
That's actually what?
Let's ask your mother.
Hold on, let me just ban someone from the chat.
All right, we actually do have to move along because I do have to get to work. So Ben, what is your number one?
The flashback scene from Batman Beyond the Return of the Joker. When you see what happens to Robin.
Oh my lord, that is an underrated Batman movie.
Yeah. It should be more highly rated.
100%.
That is my favorite Batman animated movie.
Mine
That is my favorite scene in that movie.
I see where he gets it from. Sorry, go ahead, Ben. Yeah, I agree with you. It's my favorite.
You need to the pain of the torture that the Joker causes Batman in this scene. And what he does to Robin and kills Bruce and Batman. It's a great and powerful scene. I love it. Great movie. I love this flashback scene.
You know what's disappointing to me? That this is the only time they've ever released it on home media. This is DVDs. That's the only time they've ever released it. That's how long ago.
That's shameful.
Yeah,
shame on you, DC.
Oh my god! Like, yeah, it. You would expect it to go to its places, and they actually had to edit it for TV. Like the DVD is the quote unquote original uncut version. If I'm not mistaken, they actually spoilers for an old film. They cut out the scene where Tim Drake shoots the Joker.
They didn't cut it out. They changed it. I forget how much they changed it.
Yeah. No,
and Mark Hamill gives one hell of a performance in this movie.
And Dean Stockwell as well as an older Tim Drake. Let's not forget him. He does a really good job as an older Tim Drake. Yeah, if I'm going to recommend a Batman animated film, 100%, it's this one. As much as I enjoy Mask of the Phantasm, I think this is better.
Tiffany, what do you think about this movie?
I was just looking for the spoilers for old movies banner, but I guess it's not in this room. Yeah,
it's there.
Are you sure? I don't see it. Oh, there it is.
It's under Coke. It's under Coke Game Soda Not Allowed. It's the only thing I had open at the time. So, but yeah. Anyways, no. If I'm ever going to recommend it, like I said, if I'm ever going to recommend a Batman animated movie, it's this one. It's one of the best. It deserves to be talked about in the same breath as Mask of the Phantasm. It really does.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah. All right.
I like it more than Mask of the Phantasm.
Me too. Speaking of Batman Beyond, Ben already kind of knows what my number one is. It is a Justice League episode called Epilogue.
Oh, yeah, right.
And this is specifically basically the crux of this series is it also serves as like a series finale for Batman Beyond as well. It takes place a couple years in the future. In that universe, Amanda Waller is having a conversation with Tim Drake, who finds out that Bruce Wayne is actually his biological father because he manipulated DNA And so it completely ruins Tim Drake's view on Batman. He turns out he's not compassionate. He's not Terry McGinnis, sorry. And yeah, basically he's just basically writes Bruce Wayne off. I don't want anything to do with this. And so Amanda Waller tells him a story. It's basically, so it's back into the times where we know Batman is in the Justice League, and they come across the Royal Flush Gang. And so basically what happens is a little girl named Ace, who is part of the criminal Royal Flush Gang and who has the power to alter reality, has a massive brain aneurysm that will burst within a few hours. When it does, the psychic backlash will kill everyone within range of her power. Amanda Waller gives Bruce a device and tells him that the only option is to kill Ace. Batman, however, chooses to show Ace compassion, and rather than kill her, he talks to her and convinces her to return things to normal after telekinetically warping reality in a city park. Not only does he do this, but he also holds her hand and waits with her so that she doesn't die alone. In his book, Super Gods, Batman comic book writer Grant Morrison said that superheroes are, quote, are a bright, flickering sign of our need to move on, to imagine the better, more just, and more proactive people we can be. Tragedy is only one part of Batman. The other half is compassion. It is the care that Batman shows Ace that convinces Amanda that the world will always need a Batman. That's why it's my favorite Bruce Wayne, Batman, Kevin Conroy, whatever you want to call it. It's my favorite moment in anything DC animated. It will always.
So you do have daddy issues.
It's a side you don't see much of Bruce Wayne or Batman ever, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful moment. It kills me every time I see it.
I knew it was going to be on your list. That's why it wasn't on my list.
Yeah. This is the only Justice League animated episode I actually bought digitally.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so we got to wrap it up because I got to get to work. All right, so Ben, it is your topic for next week.
Okay, well, this was a great episode. It was really thoughtful and deep. I thought I would take things a little lighter next week. Top 5 behind the scenes bloopers of TV shows.
Okay, now what's fun about this is before 50 joined us in the agreement, Ben and I were talking about this, and it sounds like we might have the same number 1, which we are actually going to play when it is time. Because I think bloopers are okay. And 50, you're going to love it.
Okay. I'll trust the judgment on that one.
Okay, so, all right, guys, thank you very much for watching the show. 50, where can everybody find you? You just start off with you.
Now, you can find me every Saturday on this show, The Northern Countdown. You can also find me on this channel every Monday on The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, where we're talking about the greatest show in the galaxy, Doctor Who. Speaking of Doctor Who, you can also find me on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. I do weekly reviews of Doctor Who episodes from 1963 all the way up to 2022 in that order. And I also did a reaction to the announcement of the new companion of the Doctor yesterday. And stay tuned, because I also have 2 very special things planned for Doctor Who's birthday on the 23rd of November. Stay tuned for those.
And Ben, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me at my Twitter, Remeember5. Also find me on the Multiverse of Kingdom YouTube channel. And we just launched Discord. So come find that, and yeah.
And as for myself, you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_Saxman. Yes, Twitter is still alive, folks. And you can also find me on these shows that these gentlemen have mentioned here. And you can also find me over on the Let's Get It Real Network Friday nights for the Blokes of Wrestling. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching.
Hold on. Because you guys had it, I also want a scene where I'm casually talking to someone off camera, which you guys just did, and I didn't have the chance to.
All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know what your favorite Kevin Conroy moment is as Batman. And we will see you next week on Rewind the Tape on Northern Countdown. Have a good day, folks. Talk to you later.